Okay, so we are live. Welcome everyone who is watching on YouTube Live at Our Lady City Wisdom College. Thank you for joining us. This is our virtual faculty panel. My name is Elizabeth Jordan. I'm the Recruitment and Student Life Officer here at City Wisdom College. I'm very happy to be with you all. So we are going to have a fun event today. First, we're going to have Dr. Natasha Duquette. She is our academic dean here. She will be introducing our three professors. We have two here present right now, but we'll hopefully have three in a little bit. So Dr. Natasha Duquette is our academic dean. She'll be introducing the professors and facilitating a faculty panel, just asking them questions about themselves. And it's just a nice opportunity to get to know more professors here at the college. So we're excited for that. After the panel, we'll have an opportunity for questions. So if you have any questions for the professors, you're more than welcome to submit the questions on YouTube Live. We'll be looking at the chat screen. If you have any questions about academics, we'll have a chance for those after the next opportunity, which is after Ms. Brenna Wehrle will give an academic, give a little presentation about the academics here. She is our Director of Admissions and Recruitment. So we'll have that after the faculty panel. So, and then, so there'll be a chance for questions after that. So without further ado, let's maybe get into the faculty panel. So Dr. Duquette, you may go ahead.
Okay, welcome everyone. So we've done these in person before, but this is our first time trying the faculty panel online. So Dave and Émilie, you could unmute your microphones and I'll ask you the first question. So my first question is a more personal question rather than academic, more about life experience. What was your most interesting summer job as a high school student or undergraduate student? Émilie, would you like to go first?
Sure. I think that my most memorable job that I started as a high school student is very interesting because now that I'm a historian, it's something that I now have to teach in class, which is, so I was working at McDonald's during 9/11. And so remembering, like, I was in Ottawa, right? And so we thought we were next. So now, of course, history classes go into September 11 as a moment in history. And so I think that's my kind of most interesting anecdote that I get to carry with me in adulthood.
It's fascinating.
So I worked at a brickyard and they sold drywall, cement and stuff like that, but they also sold coal. And I was on the trucks and we would bag coal from a hopper and put it in burlap bags, and I deliver coal to different houses in Peterborough where I live and grew up. And you'd have to put 2 tons of coal in somebody's basement, and so that's 20 bags of coal. They're 100-pound bags, so 20 bags of coal is a ton, and they'd always throw in a couple extra. So it was really fun being sort of the last person in North America delivering heating coal to domestic houses around Peterborough. And there were some of the stores in the downtown were still using coal as well. So that was really fun. It's a great memory to be part of that really important part of Canadian history, the use of coal.
Yes, you both had very historically interesting responses. Okay, so my next question is, where did you pursue your higher education before arriving at Our Lady City Wisdom College? And how did your experiences in higher education, how do they now influence your teaching? So we'll go with Émilie first again.
Sure. So I did my undergraduate and master's degree at the University of Ottawa, and I did so in the French language. And then I went to York University in Toronto to do my PhD in the English language. So those have obviously influenced me in the sense that now I have to be very functional in both languages. And we hope to actually one day be able to teach classes that require, for example, the knowledge of reading French, where we can do historical investigation. So that would be really nice. And my education has really influenced my teaching as well as my faith life, in the sense that it was at York University that I started attending the Catholic chaplaincy regularly. And then I took that back with me to Ottawa and started attending there the parish and the center of campus. So faith life and university life are really quite intertwined for me. And I love bringing that to the classroom as well.
That's very beautiful. Where I did my PhD at Queen's, there was no Catholic cathedral in the middle of the campus. You know, I think of the Newman Center at U of T and then Ottawa having this, but there was a beautiful cathedral that I could walk to in 10 minutes, but it was definitely off campus. So how beautiful that you had a space right within University of Ottawa. Okay, so now Dave Beresford.
Well, yeah, so I did undergrad at Trent University in Peterborough, and then I went back to graduate school when I was a little older, about in my 37, to do graduate work. And I started part-time, then ended up full-time. And I studied entomology. It was brilliant in that I got to talk to the professors right from first year, and I saw how important it is for students to have access to the people who are older than them, not necessarily smarter, just older, meaning those of us at the front of the classroom. And we've been doing it longer, so we have insights and points of view, which I learned from. So I don't think I'm unique. I think we're all here because we had really good teachers. But I certainly had really good teachers, instructors, professors who forced me to think by virtue of asking really good questions. And so my graduate school experience, I think, was stellar, outstanding, taught me the importance of seeing the arena of knowledge that you get to explore in is almost infinite.
So Dave, I just have a quick follow-up question. When I first arrived this summer at Our Lady City of Wisdom College, I knew you were teaching biology, so I referred to you as a biologist. Then I read about your research and I realized he's an entomologist. So you would definitely identify as an entomologist. And can you explain to our listeners, what is an entomologist?
Well, the straight answer is I study insects, but of course, the reason you study insects are multi and varied, right? So if you're studying evolution, it's pretty hard to be a evolutionary biologist of a species with a long generation time, because you'll spend the rest of your life just watching one generation. But you can watch 7 or 8 generations of flies go through a single season. So you can make predictions about how they respond to conditions, and you can actually, over the course of 1 year, answer really important questions that you couldn't possibly answer with vertebrates, but you can infer from that up to vertebrate biology. So personally, as an entomologist, I think everything that's happened in biology that's important came from our trade.
Okay, that's an awesome answer.
Plant people might disagree.
Yes. Okay, so the next question, Émilie, which is your favorite course to teach at Our Lady Seat of Wisdom College, and why? And Émilie just joined the college at the same time that I did in July, so she's just has a few courses to choose from.
That's right. So it means I've taught a total of 3 courses thus far. And I guess speaking out of perhaps my favorite of the 3, I obviously have favorite parts of each. So that's a tough call. But my specialization pertains to the history of Indigenous peoples. So in that regard, I think that the class I'm teaching on that topic, which is a 3rd-year seminar, has been just a brilliant experience. The students are extremely engaged. They're extremely inquisitive and extremely clever as well, and have demonstrated that they can have these very intellectual, long discussions, and we're always disappointed to reach the end of class. And so in that regard, I think it's the one where we're having perhaps a bit too much fun. But, yeah.
I see that course now because I think it's at the end of the day, no? What time does the class start?
Yes, it's a 4 o'clock to 5:20.
So now that it's getting dark earlier, I'll be walking outside the building and I see the lights on and I see how engaged, how attentive your students are in that course. And that speaks a lot considering it's at the end of the day.
Truly. And I even have students that are with me at 9 in the morning on the same day. And they're still awake and I'd say even perhaps more engaged later in the afternoon. So that's a huge blessing.
That's great. Okay, Dave Beresford, favorite course to teach?
I like them all. I really like Euclid, and That's a very funny thing to say for an entomologist. But Euclid allows us to examine our relationship between abstractions and the real world. So that's sort of what we do in the class. And so that's really fun, quite frankly. It's something that everyone has to come to terms with. And I just find that fun. I like the biology, statistics, of course. I'm a real statistics geek. I love that stuff. And it's another way of looking at reality. I guess it's a math. I don't think of statistics as being math, actually.
Well, it's the Euclidean geometry course that you're referencing. Yeah, the students, the way they say it, Euclidean geometry, they love it. They have this enthusiasm. They perk up when they say the title of that course. So you obviously have fun in the course.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really fun course because Euclid's looking at abstractions that don't actually exist except in the mind. And then that forces us to understand Plato and Aristotle to physical reality. Yeah. So it's applied philosophy.
Yeah, that's cool. I was thinking about the connection to philosophy. Okay, great. Okay, so the next question is, Émilie, if you could take a course from one of your colleagues, which would you choose and why?
That's a tough one. I think I honestly could benefit from being schooled from all of my colleagues. So in that regard, if I could just, be a fly on the wall for everyone's class, that would be a dream. But having to just pick one, I suppose, I would say as a historian working in 19th century documents with a lot of stuff in Latin, I could definitely benefit from a Latin language course, which unfortunately I didn't think of signing up for during my undergraduate experience. So perhaps, and I guess that would be with Kai, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a fascinating answer. Okay, Dave Beresford, which course would you take?
I would probably want to take Emily's Canadian history or else a music course. There's no bad courses. I take them all, but probably first choice Canadian history, second choice music. Because I'm a bit of a Canadian history buff. I think we don't understand or know enough about our Canadian history because we're inundated with very powerful history narratives from other countries. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's true. That's actually very true. And that's the strength of Our Lady of Wisdom College is the depth of Canadian history. And next semester we have a Canadian politics and government course, a political science course. So that is not the case at all Canadian institutions, sadly. But it is the case at the college. Great. Okay. Now, Émilie, what do you love most about working with the students at Our Lady of Wisdom College?
I love being able to have these frank discussions about how in the topic of history, our faith life has to, show up and has to kind of be intertwined with it, both when it comes to the topic of, learning church history in Canada, for example, or from the perspective of just being able to have a frank discussion about current events and bring in a Catholic perspective to it. So I really appreciate those moments, and I love being able to pray with them. Honestly, this is something that I couldn't do in the public university setting. And so in that regard, being able to share and live this faith life every single day has been such a wonderful gift from God. And so I'm really delighted to have come here to be able to do this on the daily.
That's lovely. Okay, and Dave?
I like the fact that it's an international school, and I know it's not technically an international school, but we have a lot of international students from the United States, from all over the world. We have students from Great Britain, Europe. I can think of lots of places that people have come to see the wisdom, which gives it a very exciting atmosphere, and they bring a perspective which is really fun.
Yes, we have a student from New Zealand with us, a first year student from New Zealand. It's quite astonishing. So you really see it when you're working on campus in the summer. I was on campus through July and August, and the students come, and there's such a cultural diversity immediately when all the students arrive, and it's refreshing and very dynamic. Yeah. Okay, those are the ends. That's the end of my questions. I feel like it goes a little bit more quickly when we're on Zoom than we're in person, but we can shift now. Elizabeth and Brenna, we could shift to the questions from our audience.
Sure, all right. Well, let us check out. Any questions? So I don't think there's any questions from YouTube Live.
Oxymoron.
Yeah, so we don't have any questions live. However, if you are listening live, you're welcome to, I definitely invite you to type in any questions that you may have right now, even if they're, you know, a wild question, anything. This is your chance to ask Dr. Beresford and Dr. Pigeon. Also, if you want to ask Dr. Duquette anything, you're welcome to as well. If you can't think of anything right now, then you're welcome to send us questions through email or by calling us. You're more than welcome to do that. So if there's no more questions, let's see. Well, are there any last words that Dr. Beresford or Dr. Pigeon that you want to maybe tell our listeners? Any words of advice or things you want them to know about studying at Seed of Wisdom or teaching at Seed of Wisdom?
It's kind of hard because everybody's different. So I would suggest that you read P.G. Wodehouse while you're at university. It keeps you sane, but not everyone benefits from that. But that would be my advice. The Mr. Mulliner stories are great, and that's how I got through.
I guess if I had any advice, well, first I wanted to wish everybody a super happy Advent season. I hope it's a really blessed, prayerful time for people. And second, you know, if you're interested in learning more about Canadian history, or if you want to know about course offerings, feel free to look us up on our website too and send us an email. We as professors love that kind of interaction. And for future students and for current students, just keep in mind that office hours are a time for you. So we're here, we're sitting there, we're waiting for you, and we want to serve you and help you do better, learn more, and just be more engaged with the topics that we all teach. So make good use of them. It comes in super handy at the reference letter point in your lives.
Thank you, Dr. Pigeon and Dr. Beresford. And I want to apologize for not always using your formal titles because we're on Zoom and I was forgetting the student audience. So it just feels like we're having a little coffee together or something doing it by Zoom.
Yeah, I'm happy to be called Dave. I was called that by my parents. That's a pretty good thing.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry that Dr. Olver couldn't be here, but we'll have to have him on another time. So, yeah, so for all our listeners, we'll definitely be having more of these. We're not done yet today, but we'll definitely have more of these faculty panels and student panels and different admissions, virtual admissions encounters and events. So please look out for those in the future. So if that is all from our faculty panel, thank you again, Dr. Beresford and Dr. Pigeon for coming out. Very happy to have you. And I think we're going to shift over to Miss Brenna Wehrle, who is our Director of Admissions and Recruitment here at the college. And she is going to just give a presentation about the academics and or not necessarily the academics, but the admissions procedures and policies and how we, what you need to do to apply and get into Seed of Wisdom College. So without further ado, Brenna, pass it over to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that we've had the opportunity to do this. I'm really excited to talk about our application process here, especially because right now is application season for a lot of people, us included. So right out of the gate, our early application deadline is January 4th. So if you're able to, strongly encourage you, if you're interested, to get an application together by then. It benefits you in a bunch of ways. First of all, we have some incoming student scholarships. We have 3 of them, they're $2,000 each. And if you apply by our early deadline, you get considered twice instead of just once. We also have across the board a $500 tuition discount for people who complete their applications by that deadline. And a third benefit specifically for any of our international or American friends this year. Our international tuition is going up. It's going, I think, from about $7,000 a year to closer to $10,000 a year. But if you complete your application by January 4th and you're accepted and you decide to come here, you will get the old tuition rate for your first year, which is a phenomenal savings of about $3,000 Canadian. So if you want to come, I strongly encourage that you put an application together sooner rather than later. It's really in your best interest to do so. And we're very excited to learn about you. So, we love it when applications come in, we can start reviewing them. So to apply, it's simpler than it might seem at first. Your very first step is to go to our website and go to the admissions tab, and there's a little button that says apply now, and you want to click that button. And that will take you to our kind of introductory application form. We'll have you put in your personal information, where you go to school, if you're a minor, who your guardian is, all of this very standard application information. You send that off to us, and then usually within a day, you'll get an email from me introducing myself and explaining the next steps of the process. So the next thing that we usually get from people, you can go through the next steps in any order that you'd like, but usually how it works is that the next step will be someone will write and submit their application essay. And it's a 3-part essay. Altogether, usually it ends up being between 1,000 and 1,200 words. And so often people will write 3 distinct answers that total up to that. Sometimes people will answer all 3 in one essay. Either approach is good. It's, whatever works best for you. We'll have you write a little bit on why you want to come here, what about us is interesting to you, what you're hoping to get out of your experience here. We'll have you write about your prior educational experience and what you think of that experience. We really want to know, what did you like it? Did you dislike it? What was good about it? What was bad about it? That again gives us a sense of who you are, and also shows us, that you are aware of, you're able to assess your own education and what your educational goals are, and it helps us know how we might be able to help you meet those goals. And then finally, we'll ask you to write a little bit about a formative experience in your life. It could be your family life. A lot of people write about their background, or it could be something else. It could be like a year you did a mission trip, or it could be the first time you drove a car, or something for you that was very formative. And we'll just have you write a little bit about how that formed you, how that made you the person that you are today. So that's our main application essay. For me, I have to say that's actually my favorite part of the application to read, because it's so interesting to get to know people and get to know who they are and get a sense of how they might fit into our institution. So if it was up to me, that would be the only part, but it's not up to me. There's a couple other pieces that we need you to hand in as well. So the next piece is we will have you write a book analysis. It's about 1,000 words or so on just a book that you read recently that you liked, or it could be a book that you hated, but usually people write about a book that they like. And it's just a brief analysis on, again, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what was good, what could have been improved. It just kind of gives us a sense of where you are academically. We'll also have you submit an academic essay that you've written already. You don't have to write a brand new academic essay. People panic a little bit. You don't have to do that. You're just finding an essay you've already written and sending it to us so that we can take a look at it and again, see where you're at. And then we'll also need 2 letters of reference from people who know you. They can be anybody as long as they're not your immediate family. Priests, teachers, guidance counselors, youth ministers, longtime family friends. Those are all good people to ask for references. And then the last thing is we will need a high school transcript. That's pretty standard. We want to know that you graduated high school and that you did so with at least moderate grades, because that is a prerequisite for being able to handle our academic workload. So I know that sounds like a lot when I lay it all out right now, and you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, that's so many things to remember. How am I going to do it? Don't panic. It's really not that bad once you sit down to do it. And, Ms. Jordan and myself, and especially myself once we get to the application stage, but, we're here to help you through the whole process. If you have any questions at any point, if you aren't sure if you're missing something, if you aren't sure if you've met a requirement, we're here to answer your questions, walk you through the process. We know it can be super intimidating and we don't want it to be that way. So you don't at all have to worry. So if you're sitting there and you want to apply, but you're just a little bit overwhelmed, I would say just go to our website, fill out that application form, and then I'll get in touch with you and we'll take it from there. Don't worry about anything beyond that at this point. And then we can get that process started and we can get your application completed by the early deadline and get you some money, which is always very exciting.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Wehrle, for that rundown of the application process. And if I can add something, Ms. Wehrle and I both actually went to City of Wisdom College, so we've been through the process of applying and getting accepted and just going through all those steps. So if you have any questions for us personally about how our experience was and what our experience is working in this department and trying to help you, we're really welcome to ask us on that. So wonderful. Okay, so we do have a few questions from our listeners. Teresa Wenzel asks through YouTube Live. She asks, do I send my application essays through email?
So what we set up for most of our applicants is actually a portal where you can upload all the documents that you need to upload, and then we'll have access to them on our side to read them. That's just for an additional level of security. The portals are encrypted, so if there's anything personal in your application, you can have you have the extra assurance that nobody's gonna like hack our emails and read it. Our emails are also secure and encrypted, so if you wanted to send it through email, you can do that as well, but we do like to use the portal for that extra layer of security. And if for whatever reason you're not comfortable with the portal or it's not working for you, then email is definitely acceptable. We've also had people send them by mail or drop them off in person. I think we've had every delivery method except for carrier pigeon. I think that's the one we haven't gotten yet. But if you want to be the first, I'd be intrigued.
Great. Okay, awesome. Luke Robinson on YouTube Live asks, what's the standard GPA that the college is looking for?
That's a great question.
That's an calendar. Okay, go, Brenna.
What we usually look for is a B average, and that will look different for different people depending on what your program is. Part of this is that we have applicants from so many different places. It's difficult to set one standard measurement for everyone from every school because they all have different backgrounds and all have gotten a good formation from those different backgrounds. So our basis for our comparison is the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, since we're in Ontario. So if you're from Ontario, the process is very simple. You know, what we want is a B average in your courses. We want to see that you passed a grade 12 English course that's at an academic, university prep level. And we want to see that you've done 6 courses that are what we call university or college prep. Basically, they're at a higher academic level and they're designed to prepare you for the kind of workload you'll experience in college and university. And in the Ontario school system, they're termed as U or M level courses. Now, if you're not in Ontario, then there's a different way of categorizing those courses, and your English courses might be labeled something different. So if you're not from Ontario, what we look for is equivalency. We want to see that the education that you've had essentially gives you those same abilities. So you've completed a course that's similar to our grade 12 level English course. Thankfully, most grade 12 level academic English courses are fairly consistent across the board. So we don't usually get into the nitty gritty of whether that English course is the same as this English course. We want to see that you've done a reasonable number of courses that are of a more academic nature and an academic workload. And then we do look for the B average, because even though what specifically is considered to be a B average will change from school to school, it's pretty consistent that every school considers a B to be average. And that's, we're not that we're looking for average people, but that's kind of our minimum, is that you are capable enough in your academic workload in high school that you were able to hit that average mark. So that's why we use the B average instead of GPA, because different schools will assign a B to different things. And sometimes we have schools that have very different grading scales, in which case it might be not quite a B average. But that average mark is essentially what we're looking for. I also want to say, and again, we have students come from so many different backgrounds, including homeschooling backgrounds, which sometimes it can be tricky to ascertain some of these things. So sometimes we have people apply, they have a solid academic background. We think they can handle our workload. We think they could be strong students. But for whatever reason, they just haven't hit those actual benchmarks that we usually look for in order to admit them. But we still think they have an opportunity to succeed. So what we'll do sometimes in that case is we'll admit someone on a probationary basis, which means we'll admit them, and there's a certain average, usually I think it's a 62 average, that they have to meet to continue being at the college. And if they go through their first year and they hit that average, then they can come off of probation in their later years. And that gives them an opportunity to demonstrate that they can handle our workload, even though they don't hit those benchmarks that we would usually look for in a student. So if you're looking at your GPA and it's lower than what we would usually look for, I would still encourage you to apply anyway, because it's not totally out of the question that you could come. There's a few more things to consider, and it might not be full admission, but it doesn't automatically knock it out of the realm of possibility if you don't have that B average.
Great. Awesome question, Luke. Thank you for that. We have a question from someone on Instagram. C_Grace_03 asks, she actually asked two questions. So it's a two-part question. So the first one is, if I do a first year at SFU in BC due to a current situation, can any courses transfer to SWC?
Yes, I can answer that. There's something called letter of permission that I can write for those as academic dean for those courses, but we can't give that as a blanket statement. We would need to assess them on a course by course basis. So I would need to see the syllabus for each of those courses ideally, and the course description. Okay. I'm quite sure SFU courses would be fine, but we do assess each course one at a time.
Perfect. And so that would go through your office?
Yeah, it goes to the registrar and academic dean. Yeah, and then they just come on to the transcript of the eventual degree. In fact, if that person is thinking of going to SFU this fall, it would be good if she or he could send those course descriptions and ideally the syllabus for each course over the summer so we could take a look at them.
Okay, great. Thank you. The second question that this person asked is, if I receive the Bachelor of Catholic Studies, can I enter the teaching program at SFU?
Yes, you can. Okay, it depends if the person wants to do primary junior or if the person wants to teach in the upper years of high school. But for primary junior, all you need is a 3-year bachelor degree, and that's what the Bachelor of Catholic Studies is. If the person wants to teach in high school, they may have to do 1 more year of studies to have the teachable and to have that 4-year degree. So it's yes, but depends on what level they want to teach at.
Great. So if you're watching and you ask this question, feel free to reach out to us or reach out to Dr. Duquette for more detailed answers for that.
Yes, we have many students who go into Bachelor of Education programs, but because the Bachelor of Catholic Studies is 3-year degree, you might have to do an extra year, or you can also take those courses in the first year of your Bachelor of Education kind of as overload, take those extra courses for your teachable. But yeah, we have many students who go into B.Ed programs and excel in them.
Great, wonderful. So that's all the questions that we had from our viewers, but I just wanted to ask one more question that I thought of in case anyone was wondering. Just can we talk a little bit about the remote learning opportunities at Seed of Wisdom, and just how we're doing that this year, if people don't know exactly how we're approaching remote learning and the opportunities for that.
Okay, so there are 2 kinds of remote learning that is done online, synchronous and asynchronous, and we are doing synchronous. So asynchronous means recorded lectures which are posted and the student can watch and listen to the lecture at any point. Synchronous is live streaming. So we have live streaming coming from our classrooms for the online learners, and we're also using a learning management system called Moodle, and that's where all of the syllabi will be posted, the assignments will be posted, PowerPoints will be posted there for the student to go through along with the live streaming, and it's going quite smoothly. Dr. Pigeon, who was with us, is really excelling at this, and you can also audit those courses. So if you are a high school student right now, let's say you're maybe in grade 11, you could audit one of those courses to kind of have a taste and see of what Our Lady Seed of Wisdom College education is from a distance. But yeah, even if next semester, all our courses will be accessible online for students who want to study that way. And I foresee that will probably be the case in the fall, though we can't promise for the fall yet. We have to take 1 semester at a time, which all universities are doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the situation that we're in. But very happy to provide opportunities for remote learning. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So we have one more question actually. Catherine Jordan asks, well, she wants to know how someone who is taking a course at SWC this year applies to attend the college next year.
Oh, is
That's
she
a good
taking an
question.
online course? Yeah.
So she's currently at the situation, I'm assuming, where she's currently taking a course and next year wants to come full time.
Yes.
So the easiest thing for her to do would be to send an email to admissions@seedofwisdom.ca, just letting us know that that's what she wants to do. There are more pieces to applying full-time than applying to do a single course or applying to be part-time. So there'll be some other stuff we need from her. But if she's already studying with us, she already has a file open with something she had to submit for that. So she doesn't have to start from scratch with a brand new application. We can sit down with her and talk to her and figure out, what we still need from her. And also something, one of the nice things about going from part-time to full-time is when we're looking at her marks and her transcript, whatever course she's taking here will also be included in that, which makes that transition a little bit easier for her. But the short answer is, yeah, if she reaches out to us, we can figure out what specific things we still need from her to make her a full-time student.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. All right, let me just check if there's any more questions from our viewers here. All right, doesn't look like it. If you have a last minute question, feel free to type it in right now. Well, it's been a lovely time with you both and with the two faculty members that were able to join us. I was just wondering, maybe is there anything else, any last minute comments or anything that either Natasha Duquette or Ms. Wehrle you would like to say to our viewers today?
I was impressed by their questions. Those were all really excellent questions.
Yes.
Good job.
These are great questions. I just want to say that one of our goals in admissions is not just to get people to come here, but to help people figure out what the best fit is for them. So if you have any questions at all about the college, if you're just curious about it, if you want to know more, but you're not sure, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to talk to you, as much as you want, to give you a sense of who we are here and help you figure out what the best fit in a school is for you and, what school God might be calling you to come to go to. And I hope that it's here, but if it's not, we're also happy to help you figure out, what you are looking for in school.
Yeah, I will give my email address. It's nduquette, DUQUETTE @seedofwisdom.ca.
Great, wonderful. So yes, any listeners, you are most welcome to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. And I just wanted to say too that if you are wanting to visit the campus, we are hosting in-person and come and visits. Our next come and visit opportunity, it's actually full. It's in January 15th to 16th. Very happy to have so much interest for that. Our next come and visit in-person event is March 12th to 13th. Registration is open for that. So if you head to our website at seedofwisdom.ca/visit, you're able to register for that. We're also hosting individual visits in person. So if you would like to come and just get a tour of the college in person, we'd be more than happy to give you that. Obviously, we're following the COVID regulations, but we're more than happy to offer that in-person experience. So reach out to us definitely if you're interested in visiting and or hearing more about the college. So thank you for joining us live, and please share this link with your friends. It'll be available afterwards to view. And yes, have a lovely, blessed Advent and upcoming Christmas season. So God bless you all.
Bye-bye. God bless.